Welcome, everybody, to another edition of Pre-Market Prep at the Close. Spencer Israel, Joel Elconin, Benzinga Vice President Luke Jacoby with you for the next 20 or so minutes as we walk into the close. On this bullish Monday, I guess we're in a rally now, folks. I mean, we talked about this on the show this morning. New York had a good weekend as far as the number of deaths, the death rate starting to flatten a little bit. Market was up this morning and it is up throughout the day. Joel, walk us through the market here and tell us exactly what has been going on this Monday.
We are knocking on the door, folks, of the highs of the rebound. The top number on my sheet, I even had to pencil that in there this morning, 26, 35, 75. That was the high from last week. We have currently hit 35 and a half, knocking on the door here. There's no such thing as a triple top here on PMP. So we will be looking to break through that 35 and a half, 35.75, maybe even hit 26.50 before we sign off. The market got the good news that it wanted last night as far as the New York City goes. Higher open, not much of a pullback. It did give the Bears any chance to cover. And just like there was air when we came down from this level last time, there was air going up. Up 150 and a half, handles at 26.33 and a half. Let's see how we finish here on the close. The Dow up a whopping 1,344 points, 6.38%. Crude, big old range of crude, nearly $3, much lower open. Just spanked the longs from the after hours trading on Friday. Managed to get within a dime of Friday's close, 28.34. We turned around at 28.24 and then boom, settled in the lower 26 handle. I believe we settled right around 26.21. Gold, no pressure on stocks being liquidated and having to sell your gold. So gold is up 4.1% at 17.13 and a half. That's $67.70. Silver joining the party too, way over $15. Up almost a buck here, 87.6 cents at 15.37. And Bitcoin does not want to be felt left out on the rally, up $545 at 7,335. And folks, we just officially hit a new high for the rebound here. Who cares what Jamie Dimon has to say? Who cares if Boris Johnson is intensive care? This market isn't. Well, I didn't mean that, but we do. But
yeah,
press the market here, folks.
To me, this just goes to show just how badly the market wants to get back to new highs, how badly they will just grasp onto any sliver of good news after the month we just went through. Luke, I know you have opinions here. What is your opinion on what we're seeing today?
So I'm going to drop this page that I like in the chat here. And you know, about a quarter of the way down it, New York Times does something that's really interesting, which is that they basically measure the acceleration of new cases by state. And so instead of looking at, like in Michigan, for example, our number goes from 1,400 to 1,500 to 1,600. They're basically measuring how quickly is the acceleration of cases changing. In most of these states, especially these states that are hotbeds like the New Yorks, New Jerseys, Washington, Michigan, are all on the decline. You know, there's number of cases per day still increasing, but increasing at a significantly decreasing rate, especially given that the total base keeps going up significantly. So I really like this number because I think it gives a better sense than the raw number of how well things are being contained. You know, and I think it speaks to some of this optimism that came out of New York over the weekend.
Yeah, for sure.
Wait, Luke, where was that link?
I dropped it in the YouTube chat.
You did? Okay, I must have missed it. Okay, cool. I'm curious to look at that link after we're done here. But it's just interesting, right? So look at what's up today, right? I mean, pretty much everything is up with a couple of exceptions that we talked about this morning. A few of the quote unquote like coronavirus plays are not joining the party here today. Zoom is down, Gilead is down, Ring Central is down, and so it just goes to show that for now those correlations or those inverse correlations are continuing. We're continuing to see those. So.
Yeah, talk to Triple D here, and he actually came in short the market, and I don't know how he traded his Houdini-like ways, but he did talk about Teladoc. He did catch that off the open.
Right.
That did had an opening slide and came back. And the other thing that I remember he said and I looked at, we talked about the chance of Gilead going red. And that thing hit 79.65 and now is in the red by $1.70 here. So definitely a good day for, fading the stocks that were in the eye of the COVID-19, and everything else is up. Luke, I'm sorry, I interrupted you there.
Yeah, no, I was going to say, something that I think is really telling about the optimism in this rally today is that you look at oil and it's down 7%. But then you got a lot of these oil stocks that are actually green on the day. The
a little bit
ExxonMobils,
opposite
the
on
BP.
Friday. Yep. Yeah. Buy everything market. All right, let's go over a couple of hot stock Luke's picks here that are coming to fruition. And which one do you want to start with? You want to start? Well, let's start your one that's done okay. New York Times here.
New York Times.
Let's talk NYT.
All right, so NYT, New York Times. I'm going to give the thesis again. This is something that we know at Benzinga as we operate a relatively large media site, is that traffic in March is through the roof, more or less doubled what it was in February, January, etc. With that, advertising revenues are up, subscription sales are up. Bloomberg actually put out a comment recently that said in March their subscriptions were up 86% versus the month of February. New York Times is my stock idea to play that. I bet when they have their earnings coming out, it's still a little ways away. It's a few weeks now. They're going to have an awesome number.
Okay. All right. Let's move on to your striker pick here, SYK.
I got two others that I like. Stryker is one of them. Up today on some nice market strengths in a pretty significant way. Idea being here is that it is a medical device company. Like, for example, they make a lot of the hospital beds. As the country is rushing to expand and blow out capacity, they should have some pretty decent numbers. And I liked this one in particular because when a lot of the other medical device companies were rallying on the early COVID news, Stryker got hit with the rest of the market.
All right, and bumping up here against the highs of the rebound for Stryker. What you want to see, Luke? 170.95. That was your high on March 31st. Not quite there yet. 165.58 your high for the session, trading 164.65. So a little relative basis here. Not quite seeing the performance that what just happened there? 26. We just blasted through, folks. We just hit 26.53.50. There must be.
You know what it is. It's 350. You know exactly what it is.
Yep.
It's those darn imbalances got me again.
Oh my Lord. That was a burst there. I did say I was looking for 26.50. I didn't think it would do that when I blinked my eyes. But that's what you have there, folks. We not only have cleared the high of the move at 26.35.75, we have cleared the 3-week high at 26.50, just hit 26.58. So there must be some heavily slated buy imbalances on the exchange.
This is going to be a day. Well, we got to look back at today in a month and say, oh man, today was one of the, if not the big turning point, or just what a fake out today was. What a fake out. It's going to be one or the other, right? So Joel, where is the 50% retracement from the all-time high?
I wrote that down this morning.
From peak to trough.
I wrote it down this morning, and what piece of paper did I?
28 something, probably.
27.85 and a half. 27.85 and a half. So we are within. At this rate, we'll be there tomorrow. 27.85.50.
Wow.
Yep.
Wow.
Yep.
All right. So, yeah. No. Sorry. Go ahead.
No, and the spider correlates to 278. So that's what we're looking at, folks. Here, perhaps some more good news tomorrow, and that will be even closer to that
Yeah,
level.
let's wait and see what the numbers are, what the states, particularly New York and New Jersey, what they report today.
When does New York come out?
And Luke, what?
What time does New York come out? Their number.
I don't know if there's a specific time. There is typically a press briefing at 4 o'clock or some point in the afternoon. So I don't know exactly when the numbers come out, when each state reports its new cases and its new deaths for the day and it's recovered for the day. But we'll have it by the end of the day, that's for sure. So this is just a buy everything market. Retail is up, Boeing is up. I mean, everything is pretty much up today. So how do you approach this going forward? It's funny because I had made this entire plan. I made this whole buying plan as far as how to buy when the market, if the market were to go down more. I had levels I wanted to buy at, and I didn't really think about, well, what do I do if the market goes back up here? So I guess I'm watching for that 50% retracement number that Joel just mentioned. But we're in a bit of a tricky spot right now because we're knocking on the door of that, but this is one good day in what has been
Yeah, I
otherwise
mean, and
bad
go
month.
for the W throws in there. What if Boris Johnson passes away?
I don't know. He just got moved to intensive care. I saw that pass my screen like 5 minutes ago.
I mean, the market seems to be more concerned about what's going on in the United States. I mean, that's just
Very much
yeah,
so.
yep, just that's just the bottom line on that.
So, Luke, what do you think about all this? The fact that we're rallying so hard here on what is one good day. We haven't even heard from OPEC yet. We'll hear from them on Thursday.
Yeah. I mean, I'll say the same thing that I always say, which is,
Yeah.
my strategy in any sort of sell-off, for the past several years has been every 5% off of the all-time high. I'm giving a little bit more long, and as we're creeping back, I'm holding out. Once I flip green, my price right now on SPY is 270 is my average price that I'm in on. Off of the this current sell-off. So once we flip green, I'll start to delever myself a little bit, but more or less just riding it out.
Okay,
Right.
so Jonathan Corpina on this show today, senior on PreMarket Prep this morning, senior managing partner at Meridian Equity Partners. He's a floor guy working from home. We talked a lot about the effect that's having on the balances and that being new information for everyone and not just the non-floor people out there. He said that the fact that this information is coming out at 350 for everyone now, it means there's less volatility from 350 until the close. So question from our chat, I just saw Jonathan basically said this morning that whatever comes out, whatever the move is at 350, it's the same move at 355. So we blasted off there at 350. Based on Jonathan's comments this morning, I would expect that we're going to continue to blast off, go higher until 4 o'clock. That's what he said.
Yeah, it looks like my 2650 prediction when we started the broadcast was a little bit understated there. We just hit 2664.50. So 64 and a half. I don't even know I have any daily levels up there to give you folks. Are there any issues from the chat that we need to cover? Do anything else we had on our list?
Yeah, if you have somebody asked us about Microsoft this morning, and we didn't get to it, and I wanted to. So let's just pull Microsoft here because this was a question we got, and I wanted to talk about it, but we didn't get the chance to.
Mr. Softy here up 1240, 8%. This might be one of the best up days for Mr. Softy here.
Wow.
Let me just figure this is getting ahead of itself here. 190.70. You broke down to 1/3. Let's call it 60 point move. You add 30 to that. So Microsoft has already tell you we're going through the 50% retracement because that already surpassed it in 162. On the daily charts, if you're looking for a little bit more here, maybe hold up for the just over 170. I see a pair of highs at 170 and 170.87. That was earlier in March 4th and 5th.
All right, 356 here. We are about 4 minutes away from this close. It's going to be a very interesting after-hour session. I guess, Joel, I guess you want to see like what level do you want to see hold right here? Just whatever the closing price is?
Yeah, there you go. Yep, yep, yep. And to see if they fade. What I've seen happen on a few occasions is, they pop these up at the buying balances and then they pop them at the close and then they bring it in overnight here. But today's a day where, if the shorts didn't start getting out early, they had no shot at all. And then all the shorts that deployed themselves later in the day are basically getting run over here. So that's what you're looking at going into the close. We got 3 minutes left. We just hit 68.50. That well exceeds my target at 42.75 and that 20.60.50 level. Market is doing what the market wants to do.
And they don't halt the market on limit up, correct? It's only limit down.
No, that's not true.
Then why
We would have hit it today then, right?
But there's nothing after what is it, after 325 or 330?
Right. It's 315, I believe,
Yeah.
is the marker. Any upward or downward price move that would normally trigger a circuit breaker after 315 does not trigger a circuit breaker. So they keep the volatility for the final 45 minutes of the day.
Okay.
So that there are no limit up and limit downs
We had some days last week when it should have hit, but
yeah. So there are no limit up and downs, at least in the indexes, in the last 45 minutes of the day. But there are limit ups normally. Okay, let's see. Any other tickers from the chat we want to throw out there? Somebody this morning also mentioned Facebook, which I wanted to get to because we haven't looked at Facebook for a while. This is one that we've talked about, I think, maybe a couple weeks ago, as being heavily exposed to the global advertising market. Should there be a decline in that, as you would expect in an economic recession, you would assume Facebook would bear the brunt of that. I would assume that at least. So I've been bearish on this one for a while here, but I haven't looked at the chart. Joel, do you have thoughts?
This one is lagging the market a little bit. So your bearish thesis there, or not as bullish thesis, is coming into play here. I see a big old level here in Facebook. Once again, on a relative basis here, when market had its initial surge last week, and at the end of beginning of last week and the end of the prior week, it went to 170.93. Coming up shy on that level at 166.20. So that's not showing nearly the kind of strength that something Mr. Softy is. Take a look, though. Make sure you clear 171 before you get too excited about this. All right, we hit 68.50. Now we're down at 46. So things got a little overzealous there, but we are improving on the closing high of the move as we speak right now by over 30 handles. So that will be my big level overnight. That will be whatever that 415 closing price is. And if you're trying any longs tonight, that 68.50, that could be a good target. Any closing thoughts from you, Luke?
I got one more stock
Sure.
to talk about real quick. Did you guys talk about Wayfair this morning?
We did. Blast off this morning.
Blast off. So it's up 42%. Basically, the news for anybody who wasn't listening this morning, the news is that they made a ton of money as people buying goods for work from home offices. It's a furniture company. People bought a ton of stuff to set up their home offices with everybody working from home. Some homework that I'm giving myself tonight is to think about what are some of these positive coronavirus stocks that people aren't thinking about.
That's a great assignment, because that's all investing or trading. And that's all it is, really. It's just thinking about how industries are connected to each other and what could see, how supply chains and product lines and all that, how those daisy chains in one can affect
Absolutely
all sorts of other companies. So,
and just on that Wayfair, we did talk about that, and we did talk about it getting a follow through the pre-market high. And I did mention there was a cluster of highs between 74 and 76. I'm trying to see when this was from. Oh, this is I got to look at the daily here. I saw those cluster of highs, and it's just if you look at prior history of stocks, and you want a good lesson on this one, look at the end of February. Your highs were 76.43, 549, 536, and 74 even. Now, I just threw a dart in between those levels and gave a potential target of 75 because it was just seen in the middle, a nice round number. It did go to 76.47. That did turn out to be a decent sale, but it did pull back and it held in pretty well at the end of the day. So, and they also did a secondary. Dion's asking me, do I think we'll have a fall through tomorrow? Well, what is the news going to be, Dion? If you could tell me what the news is going to be out of New York and New Jersey, then I think that's going to be your driver. But
because that's what's driven the market today. So
exactly.
that's gonna be our driver until it's not, right?
The New York number is out today, according to the chat. The New York number is out of 7,600 cases. I don't know if that's good or bad.
Okay. It's all about the new cases. It's all about how do new cases compare to yesterday. So I don't have that in front of me, but I'll look it up here after we end the broadcast, which I want to do right now. Who is it? RCL in the chat. If the bear market is over, well, shortest bear market ever, I guess. But that'll be a wrap for us. Thanks to Luke Jacoby. Thanks to everyone in our chats. You can catch a replay of this on our YouTube channel. Please remember all the information from this broadcast meant to be used as informational purposes, not for investing or trading advice. Everyone, have a great rest of your day. We'll be back with you tomorrow morning.